The hidden physiology behind confidence. She stood in front of the mirror, rehearsing words she'd never say out loud. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from something deeper. Something her body already knew, even if her mind hadn't caught up yet. Confidence isn't what we think it is. Most of us believe it lives in our thoughts, that if we just think differently, we'll feel differently. But what if confidence isn't born in the mind at all? What if it's written in the language of our bodies first, and our thoughts simply follow? She didn't know it then, but her body was already sending signals. Signals that would either amplify her courage or quietly drain it away before she even opened her mouth. This is the story of what happens beneath the surface, in the chemistry, the posture, the breath, when confidence either rises or collapses. It started with a simple observation. Researchers at Harvard noticed something strange. People who held expansive postures for just 2 minutes experienced measurable hormonal shifts. Testosterone rose, cortisol dropped. Their bodies were rewriting the script before their minds even knew what to say. But she didn't care about studies. She cared about survival. Every morning she'd wake up feeling small, not because of what she believed, but because of how she moved through the world. Shoulders curled inward, eyes down, breath shallow and high in her chest, like she was constantly bracing for impact. Her body was whispering a story of defeat, and her brain was listening. What most people don't realize is that confidence isn't a feeling we summon. It's a feedback loop. Our physiology speaks first. Our biochemistry responds. And only then does our conscious mind interpret the message and call it confidence or doubt. She thought she needed to change her mindset, but what she really needed was to change her breath. Somewhere between her third panic attack and her first real conversation with a stranger, she stumbled onto something unexpected. A technique so simple, it felt ridiculous. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4, exhale for 6. Repeat. It wasn't meditation. It wasn't wishful thinking. It was physiology. When we breathe slowly and deeply, we activate the vagus nerve, the body's built-in reset button. Heart rate variability increases. The nervous system shifts from threat mode to connection mode, and suddenly the world feels less dangerous. But even knowing this, she resisted. Part of her still believed confidence was something you either had or didn't, that some people were just born with it, wired differently, blessed with better chemistry. She thought she was chasing the wrong goal all along. Then she learned about the amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's alarm system. It scans for threats constantly, unconsciously, faster than conscious thought. And when it detects danger, real or imagined, it floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline. Fight, flight, freeze. But here's the catch. The amygdala can't tell the difference between a physical threat and a social one. A lion in the wild and a room full of strangers trigger the same cascade. So her body prepared for battle every time she had to speak up, every time she walked into a room, every time she dared to be seen. She wasn't broken. She was just wired for survival. What surprised her most wasn't just how deliberate movement started to shift her internal state, but how everything began to feel different once she stopped trying to think her way into confidence and started moving her way there instead. Researchers at Columbia University found that people who adopted power poses, standing tall, chest open, hands on hips, reported feeling more confident within minutes. But the real magic wasn't in their minds, it was in their hormone levels. Confidence, it turns out, is chemical. When testosterone rises, we feel more assertive, more willing to take risks. When cortisol drops, we feel calmer, less reactive, more present. And both of these shifts can be triggered not by thinking differently, but by standing differently. She started small. Before every meeting, every difficult conversation, every moment that used to paralyze her, she'd step into a bathroom stall and stand like Wonder Woman for 2 minutes. It felt absurd. It felt performative. But it worked. Not because she believed in it, but because her body did. This is the part most self-help advice misses. We don't feel our way into new behaviors. We behave our way into new feelings. Movement precedes emotion. Posture shapes perception. And breath. Breath is the bridge between the automatic and the intentional. She laughed, realizing progress didn't always look like progress. Some days confidence felt like fire. Other days it felt like quietly refusing to shrink, and that was enough. Because confidence isn't a permanent state. It's not something you achieve once and keep forever. It's a practice, a daily negotiation between your nervous system and the world. And the body is always negotiating. Scientists call it embodied cognition, the idea that our thoughts don't just influence our bodies, but our bodies actively shape our thoughts. When we smile, even artificially, our brain releases serotonin. When we stand tall, our brain interprets that as safety. When we slow our breath, our mind follows, the body leads, the mind listens. But what about the moments when the body feels frozen? When panic isn't just a thought, but a full system takeover? That's when she learned about the window of tolerance. The window of tolerance is the zone where we can process stress without being overwhelmed by it. Too far above the window, we're in hyperarousal, anxious, reactive, unable to think clearly. Too far below, we're in hypoarousal, numb, disconnected, shut down. Confidence lives inside the window, and the body knows how to find it. Through movement, through breath, through micro-adjustments in posture and gaze that signal to the nervous system. You're safe. You can engage. You can be seen without being destroyed. She didn't know she was retraining her nervous system. She just knew that something was shifting. Then came the setback, a public speaking event, the kind she used to avoid at all costs. She prepared. She practiced. She breathed. She stood tall, and when she walked on stage, her body betrayed her. Hands trembling, voice shaking, heart pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. She wanted to run, but she didn't. Because somewhere between the failures and the quiet mornings, she'd learned something crucial. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to act while the fear is still there. Her body was scared, but it was also capable. And that distinction changed everything. After the event, she didn't feel victorious. She felt exhausted, but also lighter, like she'd proven something to herself that no amount of affirmations could have done. She'd felt the fear and moved anyway, and her body remembered. This is what the science confirms. Every time we do something that scares us and survive, our brain rewrites the threat narrative. The amygdala learns, the nervous system recalibrates, and confidence stops being something we chase and starts being something we embody. But it's not linear, it's not permanent, and it's never perfect. Some days she still woke up feeling small. Some days the breath work didn't work. Some days standing tall felt like lying. And that was okay, because confidence isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about knowing how to come back to your body when doubt takes over. It's about recognizing the signals, the shallow breath, the tight shoulders, the downward gaze, and gently, without judgment, shifting them. Not to fake it, but to remind yourself, you're here, you're safe, you can take up space. Researchers at Stanford found something similar. When routine meets meaning, consistency finally sticks. The people who sustained confidence over time weren't the ones who felt fearless. They were the ones who developed rituals, small, embodied practices that brought them back to center. A morning walk, a pre-meeting stretch, a moment of stillness before stepping into the arena, not because these things magically erased fear, but because they gave the body a roadmap back to regulation. She built her own rituals, not all at once, not perfectly, but slowly, like assembling a toolkit she didn't know she needed, and over time confidence stopped being a destination and became a companion, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, but always accessible if she knew where to look. When she looked in the mirror again, it wasn't her reflection that had changed. It was what she believed about herself. Not that she was fearless, but that she was capable. Not that she never doubted, but that doubt didn't define her. Her body had taught her what her mind couldn't. Confidence is a conversation, not a conclusion. And the most important part of that conversation, listening. This isn't medical advice. It's an invitation to pay attention, to notice what your body is saying before your thoughts take over, to experiment with posture, breath, movement, and see what shifts. Because confidence isn't something you think your way into. It's something you feel your way toward, one small recalibration at a time. Tell us which part of this story resonated most and where you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.